Welcome to Activations with JJ Ascension Message. In today's episode, we will be talking all about multidimensional DNA and light body activation as we step into this new earth and ascend with Gaia. Hello, my dear friends. Welcome to another episode. We are here in the beginning of October, just approaching the eclipse season. I know many of you are feeling that energy. I am as well. I think that's one of the reasons why the Star Mothers recommended that during October 2023, we really turn inward so that we can look at what needs to be released during this season of eclipse. And we're looking at shadow and all of those things that come along with that energy. I'm really excited about this episode. So excited, in fact, that I feel a little jittery as I'm recording it. I feel a lot of information wanting to come through. My guides are very excited that we're talking about this. I also think it's really, really important. And as we begin, I want to give credit to one individual, an author of a book that has been something that has really impacted me over the last few weeks. And the book is Bringers of the Dawn by Barbara Marciniak. Now, if you are not familiar with the book, it has been out for a long time. I believe it came out in the 80s, in the 1980s. And wow, I just barely started reading it. Now, I've heard about it. I've known about it for a long time. But when I'm not ready for a book, I don't read it. Like my guides won't be like, oh, read that one. Because there's so many books out there, right? I'm sure you've been in the same boat where you're like, oh my gosh, there's so much to choose from. Like, what do I do? So I really pay attention to my intuition. And when I feel I'm ready, Spirit will drop it into my lap. And then I'll also have the opportunity to read it. I've traveled so much over the last little while. This has been the book that I've been reading on every flight. And wow, it's just, again, it's been so transformative for me. Not only has it been transformative, but it's also been very validating in so many different ways. As a channel, I 100% get imposter syndrome. People might think, like I'm already arrived. I've already gotten there, where I'm at. No, I still get imposter syndrome. I still doubt sometimes. And this book was so amazing to read because a lot of the things that she brought through, and she's actually channeling the Pleiadians here, that she brought through are things I've gotten the same information on. And so it's just beautiful to have that witness that I'm on the right track. Not that I'm on the right track, because I know we don't use that word, but that it's in alignment with what is coming through for other people. So there's so much to cover in this episode. It's actually kind of like a part one, because next week I'm going to upload another episode where I have interviewed some of my incredible multidimensional soul integration practitioners. They've gone through all the training, all of the practice, and all of the things that they needed to do to become a certified practitioner of this multidimensional soul integration that I downloaded 2 years ago and became like this official modality that I'm really leaning into right now. Now, typically when I work through that modality, I recommend a book called Soul Integration by Sal Rochelle. I've spoken about that book. I've quoted from that book in my Ascension School episodes. If you have not seen my Ascension School playlist, definitely check it out because that's where I bring in books. It's kind of like the one I'm going to do today, but I'm not doing the Ascension School, so I didn't necessarily name it that. But that's really what I'll be doing, is reading many, many quotes from this book and then kind of discussing them with you. Little did I know when I started to dive into this book as a way of just kind of exploring other channeled works, that it would bring in so much confirmation about the multidimensional soul integration modality I didn't even know was in here. I did not read this book because I thought it would validate it. And of course, I'm leading up to multidimensional soul integration. I've now decided that I'm only offering it once a year because I want to put all my heart and soul into it. So I'd rather just really focus on this one time a year. So it'll be fall every single year. We will be launching this cohort on the 29th of October. I'll be doing the certification at the same time. So you can either just receive the multidimensional soul integration, or you can become certified to be a practitioner and be featured on my website. I'll talk a little bit more about that in this next episode, part 2, where we'll dive in a little deeper into what multidimensional soul integration looks like, feels like, both as a practitioner and as a recipient. But again, back to the book, Bringers of the Dawn, so much in there about this multidimensional stuff. And also knowing that at the beginning of October, I sat with my guides and I said, what can I do to support the collective? And I usually bring through an offering or two. It was one-on-one sessions. And I hadn't been doing too many one-on-one sessions for a while. So I was like, okay, one-on-one sessions, what's the theme? And they said, cosmic light body attunement. Do not talk or do not have conversations. Don't have people come with questions. Just set the intention that you're bringing through their galactic guides and they're bringing through a cosmic light body attunement. And as I was reading the book, Bringers of the Dawn, of course, it's all about that. And I'm thinking, okay, now I'm seeing the puzzle pieces fit together. So I'm going to start right off by talking about this DNA activation and the cosmic light body attunement, which is all connected to that, by reading a little bit from chapter 5 of Bringers of the Dawn. And the subtitle of the book is Teachings from the Pleiadians. So here we go. This little quote that I'm going to read starts off with, you hold the history of the universe within your physical body. What is occurring upon the planet now is the literal mutation of your physical body, for you are allowing it to be evolved to a point where it will be a computer that can house this information. This is going to occur due to biogenetic engineering that really has nothing to do with you. You can facilitate the process, of course, by intending cooperation with it. As a species, you are being biogenetically altered by the beings who created you and who redesign your DNA at periodic junctures in your history. This time period was created by the original creator gods or project designers for them to come back and take over this place and return it to its original plan. So the plans have been drawn and the designs made and the genetics studied to find out who carries the recessive genes and the cord of light inside them. You have selected with great clarity the parentage that genealogically provides you with the fullest accessibility to combinations of light-encoded filaments that can potentially evolve. Your DNA is a filament. A scientist would describe it as a connective filament. Scientists, doing the best they can up to this point, have found certain codings within certain portions of the DNA. They have also found superfluous portions of the DNA. In other words, there are portions that they cannot translate or figure out, so they think these portions of the DNA are just there for the ride, and they call them junk DNA. They are off track. What scientists are calling junk houses the perceptions deep inside of your body that will allow you to become an entire perceiver, a fourth dimensional being. This awakening DNA will allow you to change your eyesight, change your hearing, increase your lifespan, and so on. This dormant part of the DNA that has baffled the scientists is now coming to life. Okay, I'm going to stop the quote right there. So again, this was chapter 5 in the book if you want to go look yourself. So much in there to dig into. First of all, I love that it mentions how we chose our parentage. And I had this download the other day. My father passed away when I was young, but I have tuned in many times and received different kinds of information about his role in my life, even though it was very short. One of those is that he was a starseed, first of all, and he carried certain frequencies that my ancestral DNA did. And so when I read this, I was like, that is why. I got this really strong confirmation that my two parents, who again, were not actually together very long because he passed away when they were young, they needed to come together to create their children and endow them with this certain kind of DNA that was fertile ground for this mutation, this evolution, actually returning, right, to the original frequencies that we were in. And it's interesting because we all chose the things that we experience. And I know some of you are wondering, wow, my parents, like Many starseeds come from backgrounds with difficult childhoods, and their parents weren't necessarily highest vibrational or expressing that. But if you read Dolores Cannon and all the people that she worked with through QHHT, you will see she even says the same thing. Your parents are your parents for a reason. And she'll kind of dive into that, and she'll list off, okay, this is why, and this is why, and this is why. And I believe that about everybody here. So that's just the little thing I want you to kind of think about. Now, with regards to this junk DNA, I know that's very like a widespread knowledge among starseeds is like the junk DNA is the most important part of the DNA. As I'm reading this book, my guides want to drop in and make a small correction because of the fact that this book is a little bit dated. And they want us to know that even though it says fourth dimensional being, some of you might wonder, well, what about fifth dimensional? Yes, some people are in fourth dimensional, some are in fifth dimensional. I think it was last year, I actually did these readings where it was a one-on-one session, and the whole goal was to analyze your DNA and help you understand where you were at in your phases of evolution with the DNA, like how many of those strands were activated and where you were at. So that was really fun, and I personally learned a lot. Anytime I do these unique sessions, I am learning so much. Right now, I've done a handful so far this month of the cosmic light body attunements. I think I have maybe 5 or 6 more openings towards the end of the month, but I have been learning incredible things about the evolution and this mutation, like this switching out of parts and DNA of the body as the galactic beings come in and are doing really energetic surgery, and they're replacing full-on body parts. It really feels like we're bionic. It almost feels like a whole modality that I'm learning. So I'll have to share with you as it develops what is coming through, because I 100% believe that the more people we have practicing these kinds of modalities and utilizing these ideas and really leaning into the galactic healers that are coming forward to help us activate, then we're just going to advance that much quicker. And that's what we want, right? We want everybody to be exponentially quantum leaping all over the place. Now, speaking of this modality and what is spoken of in the Bringers of the Dawn book, I want to switch gears and move forward in the same chapter, chapter 5. I'm going to be talking a little bit about the double helix system that we currently have with the DNA and how we're transitioning into a 12-helix system. So 2 strands of 12, 24 total. Many of you have heard me talk about that before. It's in other books. Other people have channeled things about this. What it says here, and I'm just going to kind of quote right now the book. The original designers of the human body were benevolent beings. These original creator gods were very generous in endowing you biogenetically with a tremendous vitality of spirit and a tremendous zest of capability. Much of this information is stored within your body in the light-encoded filaments that are scattered and coming back into alignment. Your bones and skeletal form correspond with that information. When your skeletal form is in alignment, the energy from sacred power sites is released. The cosmic rays are pulled into your body, and the light-encoded filaments inside your cells begin to reorder themselves. You will find that you are in the change. The change will be mirrored to you everywhere you look. I'm going to go ahead and pause right there because something just dropped in and I'm like, oh my gosh. My guides are like, hello. So I don't know how many of you know about my Pleiadian energy calibrations. If you're listening on my podcast platform, those are only found on my YouTube channel. So make sure you hop on over to my YouTube channel. But those Pleiadian energy calibrations, which I was recently drawn to overhaul and redo and kind of add in new frequencies, because I did them, I think, 2 years ago. Those are exactly what I think that's what they're doing with them, because they're Pleiadian and these are the Pleiadians. And I'm like, my guys are like, hello, this is like totally connected. These are the same Pleiadian beings that were talking to her that were guiding through these energy calibrations that you did. And they are all about these systems. I have one for the skeletal system, right? I have one for the nervous system. And they had me go through the whole body when they invited me to create these energy calibrations. That's what they did. They're like, we're going to go through all the systems of the body. I mean, we're working with the bone marrow, the bones, all of these things. So I just had to hop in and say that because now it's just hitting home. That's what's going on when I created those. All right, let's slip back into the quote here from the book. It says this: the present evolutionary system designed by the creator gods to step you up a number of dimensions or frequencies is based upon the evolution of the 12 helixes that correspond to the 12 chakra centers, 7 within your body and 5 outside your body. This is simply the way the system plugs in. With respect to the evolution of the helixes within the human body, a common denominator frequency must be attained that even those in the lowest possible stations can reach. There are also those humans who could go beyond the 12 helixes. In general, however, the state of consciousness of humanity cannot achieve that kind of acceleration. It is enough of a leap for people to go from a double helix system to a 12 helix system. I'm going to pause right there. Side note to all you overachievers, just take your baby steps first, okay? That's kind of what they're saying. All right, moving forward. Some people will be functioning with the 12 helixes within a short period of time, while others around the planet will not receive this shift until later in the decade. This is simply because each individual is coded to be given the frequency when they are capable of integrating it. Many are already having a difficult time integrating the changes at this early stage of the plan. Now, mind you, this is 40 years ago. A large majority of the humans on Earth have convinced themselves there is only one reality and there can be no other. Okay, so we know that that's, I'm going to stop the quote right there, but we know that that's something that's going around. Now, here's something really, really interesting. I know all of you were like, what are the 7th, 8th, or what are the 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th, and 12th chakras? So I think most of us understand the 8th and 9th are the soul star and the earth star chakras. Those are outside the body. So what are the 10th, 11th, and 12th? Well, this goes right along with something else that I was bringing through. And I'm like, oh, this is making sense. So the 10th chakra, once it is in line and plugged in, will be in your solar system. It will literally, it's located outside your body in your solar system. I know that kind of blows the mind. The 11th chakra will move out into your galactic system, and the 12th will be located and anchored someplace in this universe. Whoa. So your body is expanding. And this is actually a perfect segue into the multidimensional soul integration modality and the way, we talk about multidimensional soul integration, which he does channel information about that in this book. But before we do, let me tell you what the big aha moment I had was. Recently, I've been channeling information about how our bodies are stargates. Again, other channelers have brought this through. This is not brand new information, but definitely a confirmation. In fact, what I feel like I'm doing when I go to the UK very soon, I'll be there in just like a week and a half. I cannot believe it's already here. I'm excited to co-create with so many of you. Do you know what we're going to be doing there? We are going to be there for information for us, okay? So we're going to be learning things. I'm going to be channeling things, but you are there. We are gathering as starseeds to be stargates, to let in galactic frequencies into those places on the planet. So we are doing grid work. That's what's happening. That's why you're called there. So for those of you who are on the fence about traveling there or going or joining with us, please really take a look at that, because we need everybody we can get over there in person. We also need those of you who want to attend virtually. In Manhattan, I have a grid work opportunity for you. You can check out the link below. That's on October 15th. And then I have a grid work opportunity for you on the 20th of October, where we're going to be doing our Avalon grid work. And I need everybody. I need all of us. It's like those giant meditations where they're like, everybody meditate at 11:11. It's real. I need all the troops. I need everybody there. So again, if you feel called, check out the links below. Would love to have you there. We need your frequency, all the frequencies we can that are these higher vibrations. Okay, now we are going to switch gears. We are going to shift. Like I said, that was a perfect segue into the concept of multidimensional soul integration. And I want you to understand that this is, like I said, part 1, because there is by no means enough time to go through everything that I want to go through today. So that's why I'm making there be a part 2. So I'm going to start off by diving into chapter 6 of Bringers of the Dawn. I'm going to kind of head into that. And I want to just give you a small sort of analogy that was given in the book, but I'm not directly quoting. But basically, it says your DNA is like a library. It holds things. And when the frequency was shifted, right? Let's just call it like when the fall happened, like when we left the Garden of Eden state and frequency. It's kind of like those books weren't taken away, but all of the books were scattered on the floor. And now we're sorting through those books and we're reorganizing those books. And so here's what it talks about in this is a direct quote now from chapter 6. The task you have before you is to consciously command, intend, and will the evolvement of your DNA. Commanding and willing and asking, for this is not easy, for you must move through many identities. From the historical perspective of your multidimensional existence or essence of your soul, you have been all kinds of characters. And some of these experiences have been painful. They have been challenging and difficult. It is time for you to move through the challenges and unlock the history that is inside of your body by allowing the light encoded filaments to rebundle, forming new helixes, and by allowing yourself to be receptive to what is in this new information in the DNA is going to plug into you. It will not always make sense to your logical mind. You will learn that your logical mind has a place, a function, and a purpose, but that is not your identity. Okay, I'm going to shift to a quote just a little bit later on. The light encoded filaments are like rays of light that hold a geometric form of language. They come to you from a cosmic database and hold information. Many of you are at the point where you don't need to have a healing done on your body. You need to have a spontaneous education or implant put into your body to teach you. This is what will be coming during the next numbers of years. I'm going to pause right there. That's exactly what I was talking about, the cosmic light body attunements. I feel like that's what's happening. So we're shifting from these little Band-Aid, I don't want to say Band-Aid type things, but like these smaller ways of healing to these really, really giant, enormous, expansive ways of healing that will allow us to make those quantum leaps, okay? So back to what we were saying about the multidimensional, self. I'm going to go forward just a few paragraphs. The triple helix, okay, she's moving through in the book like the different helixes. The triple helix brings you into the feeling center. The feeling center is emotion, and emotion is your road or bridge or ticket to the spiritual self. When people deny the emotional self, they can't get into the spiritual realms. The Christed one said, know thyself. Know thyselves. It's the same thing. That message was given on the planet a long time ago, but it was distorted so that people could not understand how grand indeed they were, and that all they had to do was rearrange themselves. The work is always internal. When you want to know how to go about bringing a change upon the planet, we always tell you to work with yourself. Develop yourself. Move beyond the boundaries of yourself. Learn to become multidimensional, to exist in the astral world, and to travel beyond the physical body. I'm going to go ahead and stop right there. There's a bunch more in here, but again, I know I'm just kind of moving slowly through it. Isn't that incredible to realize? That's literally it. Now, what else is such a synchronicity is that the theme for October 2023 ended up being just what was stated in this book. What I just said, that quote about going within. And what an incredible thing to know that we have one simple way of accelerating the ascension on this planet, and that is to turn inward and to know ourselves and know ourselves. Just like it said, our whole multidimensional selves. I'm going to drop in with one last thing before I finish up today, and that is addressing the eclipse energies. One of the things that I think is important for us to understand is that during this eclipse, some of our multidimensional shadow aspects will come forward. I am getting that confirmation from my guides. We do not have to make it this really, really uncomfortable thing for our bodies. We do not have to see details. We can literally feel the energy come forward, acknowledge that it's there, and let it be integrated into who we are as a wholeness. Because technically it's a release of our resistance. more than a release of that part of ourselves, because that part of ourselves has to be there. There cannot be light without dark. There cannot be dark without light. So what we're releasing, my friends, is programming. I'll be putting out a special eclipse activation to assist you with that because I feel drawn to do so. And I just want you to keep that on your radar as we're heading in, because I can already feel the eclipse energies and become really sensitive. And it's good. If you feel like you're a little too sensitive, just remember you have that dial on the front of you. You can turn that down. Don't worry about it. You can turn it down. All right. As we are heading into the eclipse, we're not there yet. This weekend, I have 2 more gatherings coming up. One is my Atlantean Golden Age gathering, and the other is my Fairies, Dragons, and Elementals. I fully believe these gatherings will be facilitating your preparation for the eclipse. They both occur on October 8th. If you are listening to this after the fact and you're like, oh, I didn't get to go. 1, there's always playbacks. I have those available in my store on my website. And 2, these are monthly gatherings that you can attend. They are virtual. We do healing, we do grid work, we do light body activation in a group setting. And it's a beautiful way to co-create with other starseeds. So I would love to have you there. All right, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up this episode and put a pin in it because I just feel like there's still more that wants to come through. But that will be in my next episode next week when I bring through more about the multidimensional soul integration as it's reflected in Bringers of the Dawn, as well as some interviews, some commentary from my multidimensional soul integration certified practitioners. 4 beautiful souls will be coming forward to drop in with their sort of insights and their input and their feedback about this modality. As always, I am sending you so much love. I'm reminding you that I am you and you are me and we are we. Until next time.